The third thing that really affected the Independent was the decision in 1991 to launch the Independent on Sunday. Now, we'd always been a 6-day operation. There'd never been any thought of having a Sunday paper, although obviously, I say never any thought, this might have been at the back of minds of a few people that we've been very successful over 6 days. Could we not be doing over 7 days? And we did make an attempt to buy the Observer newspaper, which at that point was a self-standing paper. And I don't exactly remember all the reasons why, but we would have brought it under our brand and we would have resourced it, etc. The talks broke down and it never happened, and eventually it was sold to The Guardian, which was seen as a relatively kind of natural joining anyway. Although for many years people on The Guardian always grumbled about the fact their resources were being eaten into by The Observer, and I'm sure that on The Independent, if we'd have allied ourselves with the Observer, the same thing would have happened. But we then took the decision to launch a Sunday paper, The Independent on Sunday, and there are many people who were just on the daily paper who think that, that was the wrong decision. I actually think it was the right decision. That was my personal thing. The Independent on Sunday, up until it closed last weekend, had a very rich and rewarding existence for many years and was an extension of the brand. There was a lot of internal rivalry at first, obviously, and there was also, initially, there was a lot of money spent on setting up the Independent on Sunday. It cost money to set it up. We needed extra staff, but we never had quite enough staff to do both newspapers. And over the years, there were sort of successive attempts to either combine staff, and we had various attempts at having joint newsrooms, and then it would separate again for a few years, and then they would come together again, and we had experimented with joint staffs and joint news desks. And there was never a kind of really successful a successful marriage between the two papers. Neither was there ever a particularly successful divorce. So it was sort of stumbling along like a kind of couple in a relationship that have kind of made it work, but it's not perfect, And so that went on obviously right up until the end. And that kind of, those are the things that many people said didn't, stop the Independent as a separate entity on its own from really being the success that it could have been.